So the question is, why would you use a CAD software? And just to show you, this is some things that I've made before. So this is actually the followers that I was presenting just before. And if I go and arrange it as style, what you can see here is a spreadsheet that will control every property of these follower. So let's say you want currently these followers are 50 millimeter tall, but let's say you want to make them 90 millimeter tall. Then you can change a number here, and if your modeling is correctly done, then you can control every single parameter. And for example, if this one you would like to make it a little bit bigger, so right now it's half an inch, but let's say you want to make it 14 millimeter, for example, and you can see everything will follow, and that is very convenient when you are modeling something, because you can iterate through various size and not break anything. So, oops, here we are. Let me go back to the original, and now let's start with our modeling job. So I can close this guy, and so the first thing that I will create is actually one of these spreadsheets to store our dimension. So for that, I will go in the spreadsheet workbench here, create a spreadsheet, and you can see it's appearing here. I will rename it dim for dimension, because we have to refer to this name, so I want it short. And then inside this spreadsheet, I will create a few parameters. And so what we're interested in here is we want the length of our follower, which will be 50 millimeter. And to be able to use this value, I have to give it a name or an alias. So here I will type len, and you see it's getting yellow, so we can use it in our drawing later. I want to also define the diameter of the follower, so I will call it base, and this is Schlag, so it's half an inch, so I would say 0.5 inches, and it's converting to millimeter automatically. So this I will call base. The next thing that I want to define is the notch size, so I will call it notch, which is going to be 0.3 inch, and you will see how I'm using it later. And I also want to define the depth of the notch, which is going to be 0.15 inch. So this depth is actually the distance between each pin in the Schlag keyway. So here we have all our parameters, so now let's start to draw our or model our follower. So for that I will use the part design, and the first thing that I have to create is a body. So I will go here and create a new body. This new body right now doesn't have any geometry associated, so the way it's going to work is we are going to use a sketch to extrude a shape, for example, or to carve a shape. And in this case, it's going to be very simple. I'm just going to create so a sketch, and then I have to figure out which direction or which plan do I want to draw this sketch on. And what I want to do is draw it on the horizontal plane, so this XY plane here. So I select XY plane, OK, and now you can see that the rotation, so the view rotated to this top view, which is really we see the plan of the sketch. And you can see these tools are here to define all kind of geometry. So for the base of our follower, we just need a circle. I'm going to select and lock the center of the circle with the origin. And now I have to constrain it, because if I press escape to unselect everything, you can see that this circle is free to move, and it's also white, meaning it's not completely constrained. So to do that, I will use the constraint diameter, and I will click on the circle, and then here I can define something like 10 millimeters, for example. But really what I want is I want to link this diameter to the spreadsheets that we have here. So for that I will let me just edit by double clicking it. I will use it's a little bit like Excel or any kind of spreadsheet where you can enter a formula by typing equal, and then in this case we know the spreadsheet is called dim, so I will click DI dim, and then the name of the parameters that we want to use is called base, so base here. And you see the value is this 12.7 millimeter, which is exactly what we have here. So I'm going to press OK, OK. And now this constraint is orange, meaning it is driven by something outside of the sketch. That's all for now, so I will just close this sketch and go back to my original view. Now what is going to happen is that if I change the value here to, for example, 30 millimeter, you can see that the circle is going to follow, so that's extremely convenient. So let me go back to half an inch. Oops, I'm sorry, wrong button here. Half an inch. And so right now this is only a sketch, it's not a solid, so what we have to do is we have to extrude or pad the selected sketch. So here I will going to pad it, and the default length is 10 millimeter, but what we want is 50 millimeter. So same process, either I press equal or I press this symbol here, and I'm going to refer to dim, our spreadsheet, dot length or len, which is 50 millimeter, and here we have. So this is our follower with no notch, and now I have to make a notch to make it very convenient to repin this revolver. So I will press OK because I'm finished. So when you build an object, you are building this object in a sequence of steps. So the first step here was to create this, so you can show various things pressing space bar. So the first step was to create a sketch, then we pad the sketch into a cylinder, and now we're going to draw the notch at the top and then carve it. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to start with the body. We are going to create a new sketch in the same plane XY, so horizontal. Okay, and what we have to do is create this notch. So to create the notch, I'm going to use this tool here that is very convenient because it lets you create a bunch of lines and circles in one shot. So I'm going to first click, and you see this red line here means that it will add a constraint on that segment, a vertical constraint. So it's going to be vertical, which is what I want. Then I'm going to use the key M to change the behavior. So here you can see it can create a lot of different things, but what I want is a half circle. So let's do a half circle, and then I'm going to create another vertical line and stop here. So that's going to be the first part of my notch. The second part is going to be an arc, and you're going to see why in a moment. So here I'm going to click constraint, so basically link this arc with this point, and link this arc with this second point. Here we are. So right now we have this kind of this shape here, but nothing is constrained. Everything is moving, so it's a little bit chaotic. We have to constrain this thing. So first thing I'm going to do is I want these 2 points here. I'm selecting them with Control. I want to make them horizontal. So I'm going to create an horizontal constraint, and so now it's not you can't move these two are staying horizontal. Then I want these two sides to be equal, so I'm going to use the equal constraint. I'm going to select this one and this one. Okay, so now you can see everything is moving together. The next thing is I want to use the notch size here to define the size of this notch. So for that I'm going to use a vertical constraint, select this size, and same as previous, going to say enter, dim for the spreadsheet name, and then notch. Okay, and now you can see that this dimension is the same as this one. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to fix this diameter here to the same dimension. So I'm going to use the diameter tool, click here, and then define this guy as dim dot notch. Okay, so we are getting there. Here you can see the diameter. The last thing that is not, you can see this one is like kind of moving. So I want this circle to match the current follower diameter. So for that I'm going to fix the diameter of this guy, and I will, you guess it, use dim dot base here 12.7. Okay, and now we have the notch that I want to carve into the follower. The final thing is I want to basically make it that's actually, this is interesting. I need to, this is a little bit too large. You can see this notch here. I want to keep a wall, so let me actually reduce that by saying so I want to make it bigger. So do I want to make, no, I want to make it smaller, sorry, so I'm going to multiply it by 2/3. Okay. That's probably going to be a little bit, okay, so let's solve this problem later. So first of all, I'm going to constrain these two points to the same point. So here you have a coincidence, and you can see that now the diagram, everything is green, meaning that it's constrained. I still have to change this guy, so 2/3 is going too small because I want to be able to put my tweezer in between these two walls. So maybe we can do 5, 6 millimeter is probably going to be okay. So okay, so let's use this dimension here. So I'm going to be closes this thing, and what you see right now is that the drawing is at Z0 at the bottom, on the origin plane. So if let me just show the origin plane here. So this is not exactly what I want, because what I want is I want to carve this thing at the top here. So what I need to do is, before doing the carving, I need to move the sketch up. And for this, there is, in these properties here of the sketch, you have a position. And the position that I want to change is this Z position. So, you know, if I select, for example, 30 millimeter, you can see that the sketch is actually going up. To place the sketch properly, I will use the length property here. So same as always, I'm just going to do equal dim dot len. Okay. And so here you can see the 50 millimeter, which is the right one. However, the sketch didn't move yet, and this is because we have to refresh or recompute everything. So if I click recompute, you can see that the sketch moved up and now is at the on this top face, and it's ready to be carved. So for that, I'm going to use this pocket tool here, and it's kind of magical because now we have oh, I'm sorry, I moved here. We have this notch here, and the only thing that I have to do is the depth of the notch is going to be also controlled by the spreadsheet. So here I'm going to do dim dot depth. Oh, sorry, sometimes it's a little bit finicky. Dot depth, here it is. Okay, so now we have our follower. This is the one that we want to do. So I'm going to say okay, and we have to save the project. Well, I will save it later, but you know, I have to save. So what I have to do is I have to export this object as a geometry for the 3D printer. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select body and export, and you can see that I'm going to select the STL format, and I'm going to say revolver follower. and I will have created this geometry.